Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Springfield Township Board of Trustee meeting. Today is August the 11th, 2015. We'd like to begin first with the roll call. Mr. Burning?
Yes. Mr. Burning?
Present.
Mr. Honalaw?
Present.
Ms. McFarland?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
And I'd like now to ask Dan Burning if he would lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dan, that was great.
You're welcome.
We have really an interesting and exciting evening this evening. We have a lot of special recognitions. We're going to the recognitions first include American Heart Association Award presentation, and then the Matt Haverkamp Foundation presentation, and then the Jeff Hosner recognition, and then also I think we may have some individuals from here that participated in the Frost Playground volunteer activity this past weekend. So first I'm going to begin with the American Heart Association Award presentation. We're very fortunate because Alexander Kuhn, who is the Senior Director of Quality and Systems Improvement for the American Heart Association, is here this evening to present to our fire department as well as to us the Lifeline EMS Performance Achievement Award. Now, this is a very outstanding award because it's given to those systems that provide high-functioning, high-quality services, EMS services, and they have to meet some very, very, very stringent requirements in order to achieve what they consider high-quality cardiac STEMI intervention. So I'd like to introduce first Mr. Kuhn, Alexander Kuhn of the American Heart Association. Please, if you'll come to the right there and give us a little, present the award, please.
Great, thank you. I think you've stole my thunder here a little bit, so I'm going to sit back down. No. It's great to be here in Springfield Township today to acknowledge the Springfield Fire Department for the care that they're providing for patients that are having an ST myocardial infarction heart attack or STEMI heart attack, which is the most serious type of heart attack there is. Folks that don't get prompt care for these type of heart attacks will generally die or have a lot of extensive mortality or disability after their heart attack. So it's great to be here today. The American Heart Association recognizes the critical life-saving role EMS provides to the overall success of a STEMI system of care. The correct tools and training allow EMS providers to rapidly identify the STEMI, promptly notify the destination center, and activate an early response from cardiologists and emergency personnel. As an EMS agency that delivers education in STEMI identification, provides access to 12-lead electrocardiogram machines, and develops protocols derived from the American College of Cardiology and American Heart Association guideline recommendations, your pre-hospital care professionals are driving improvements in the care and outcomes of STEMI patients in your community. Beyond these basic components of a high-functioning, which you mentioned, STEMI system of care, Springfield Township Department is part of an elite group of pre-hospital agents in the U.S., not just focused on high-functioning, but also high-quality STEMI systems of care. Springfield Township Fire Department joins 447 other EMS agencies in the U.S. and is one of 51 other agencies in Ohio receiving the 2015 American Heart Association Mission Lifeline EMS Performance Achievement Award. They sound like big numbers, but there are actually about 21,000 individually licensed EMS agencies in the U.S., so only 447 out of that 21,000 are getting an award. And here in the state of Ohio, there are about 14,000 EMS agencies that are licensed to provide care, and only 51 are getting an award. And specifically here in the Cincinnati area, I think there are 5 agencies that are getting an award. So very elite company for the high functioning and high quality of care that they provide. To achieve the Bronze Performance Achievement Award, Springfield Township met specific volume criteria and achieved a 75% or higher compliance score for each of the specific EMS measures for 3 to 9 months. These measures include percentage of patients with non-traumatic chest pain over the age of 35 treated and transported by EMS who receives a pre-hospital 12-lead ECG. The second measure really is a demonstration of how well the EMS agency works with the community hospitals in the area, and it's a measure of how well the patient Care is from the time EMS gets them to the time they get their arteries open. Second measure is percentage of STEMI patients transported to a STEMI receiving center with a pre-hospital first medical contact to device in less than 90 minutes. So if you were to have a heart attack here right now, from the time that the EMS providers here saw you to the time you got to one of the hospitals and they were to get you through the emergency department and up to the cath lab and opened your artery, it has to be 90 minutes. It takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication by your EMS providers, working with the hospitals in this area to make that happen. Today we're celebrating lives saved because of the hard work and dedication of Springfield Township Fire Department. The communities served by Springfield Township Fire Department should be very proud of their pre-hospital care professionals. For their accomplishment, the American Heart Association will recognize Springfield Township Fire Department throughout the year at professional meetings and professional journals, including the Journal of Emergency Medical Services, which if you look in the July issue, you'll see our ad in there with all the agencies that are recognized, and on the American Heart Association website. So before I give you an award, I want to send out or acknowledge specifically Lieutenant Richards for his hard work. He spent a lot of time working on this, and again, you know, any agency can put wheels on an ambulance, roll it out, and provide high-functioning STEMI care. Really to go back and look at your data and making sure that you're providing high-quality care really shows and demonstrates the commitment of your fire department to providing the most expert care and ensuring the best outcome for your patients in your community. And Lieutenant Richards really played a lot in making that happen for this award. So on behalf of all the staff and volunteers of the American Heart Association, I would like to present Springfield Fire Department with the American Heart Association's Mission Lifeline 2015 EMS Performance Achievement Award. Congratulations on your accomplishment.
We can have Kevin and Chief Leininger, if you can step down, please. And I would also just like to add, I have worked in this field professionally, most of my professional career, and I know how critical this is for you guys. And the research and looking at the outcomes are critical as well. And so our department has just continued to excel in excellence as they continue to provide life-saving efforts for the residents that they provide, that they happen to encounter, you know, when they get that big call. And if there's anyone in this room that's ever had that service, you can also relate to how critical and how valuable that is. Oh. Thank you again. Let's give them another hand, please. Last month, we had recognized Paco, our dog, the dog that's working with us in the police department, and the Matt Haverkamp Foundation actually funded that canine for the police department. So I'd like to call Nancy and Jake Haverkamp and Bruce from the foundation to the floor, and I'd like also to ask Chief Broward if you can step to just give us some information about this fabulous recognition as well.
Okay, the Matt Haverkamp Foundation was established in 2005, and since then, the foundation has received public and private donations totaling over $177,000 to enable them to purchase 28 dogs for various police departments in the greater Cincinnati area. Us, along with those police departments, would not have the ability to make these programs happen without their generous donations. So for that, we thank you.
Possible for us as well in Springfield Township. Thank you so much. Now we'd like to acknowledge as well with a photo, group photo. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you again. You know, we have so many exciting and great things happening in our township. And it's always good when we have an opportunity to recognize all of the assets. These are assets in our community. And that's why living in Springfield Township is a great place to live, because we have lots of great folks. We have next is the Jeff Hosner recognition. And I'd like to also acknowledge Pastor Hosner. He has been my friend since I first came into Springfield Township. He and Pastor Zimmerman, Nancy. In fact, Nancy swore me in when I ran and won the first time, and so I'll never, ever forget that. The church is, Northminster is just a great church, and it serves the community very, very well. So I'd like if you guys can come up to here, and Kim, if you can read the recognition for Jeff Hosner, his bio.
Jeff Hosmer became pastor of Northminster Presbyterian Church in October 1993, serving as head of staff for nearly 22 years. During his time with Northminster, he led the congregation through the transition of being a church with a mission to being a missional church, engaging in hands-on participation and community connections. He was instrumental in starting the Family Life Center to offer help to families and individuals in the community experiencing crisis such as grief, divorce, unemployment, and caregiving. Each year, more than 1,000 clients across Cincinnati receive spiritual support through the Family Life Center within its well-established support groups, coaching sessions, seminars, and workshops. During Pastor Hosmer's leadership, Northminster has engaged with Springfield Township and neighboring communities in their annual Connect Day, where members of the church labor alongside nonprofits and schools in a variety of projects. The township recently experienced this program firsthand with the Connect volunteers helping to build Frost Playground. In previous years, Connect volunteers painted various rooms within the Springfield Township Senior Community Arts Center. Finneytown High School Homecoming Parade congregates in Northminster's parking lot, and the congregation volunteers to host cookouts for the parade participants. Northminster Church has opened its doors to Finneytown schools, offering space for PSAT testing, teacher training, and teacher negotiations. And they also support the program Whiz Kids as an anchor church, providing tutors at Whitaker Elementary. After 22 years, Jeff Hosmer leaves Northminster Church at Springfield Township to finish his doctorate in ministry at Asbury Theological Seminary, and then he will serve at the North Lake Presbyterian Church in Florida, where his grandchildren and aging parents reside. Although he will be missed by many, he has left a standing legacy that will be carried on throughout Northminster Church. Tonight, the Associate Pastor, Nancy Ross Zimmerman, will accept the award to carry on Jim's goodwill in the community.
This is our honor to present this recognition to Pastor Hosner, and I'm certain you'll make sure that he gets this. Pastor Zimmerman. And while we're here, there were several volunteers that helped in the activity this past weekend to help put together and assemble a playground. Are those volunteers here? I think they are. If you could just stand. Oh, they're right here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Pose for a group picture.
Right here. Well, we enjoyed working with Kim. She was a part of it.
And the search chart.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to continue with the agenda. I just think, we are just so truly blessed to have such great people in our community. Next is our financial report. Mr. Burning, Dan, our
Yes.
fiscal officer.
For the month ending July 31st, 2015, the township expenditures were $1,518,034.28, and receipts were $803,223.62. The ending cash balance of $16,257,224.02 includes obligations to expenditures, payrolls, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investment. What I request is a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, update, and current revenue and reports for ending of July 31st, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I just want to let everyone know that reports are available for viewing at the administrative offices weekdays during regular business hours. Also, the report that you heard tonight is in our monthly checks are now on our website. They can be found each month if anybody wants to look at them.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome.
you very much. Okay, next is our department action and discussion items. Mr. Henningkamp, our township administrator, do you have some action items for us?
I have a very brief report, just one action item, and that is to seek the board's approval to add the following vendor to our approved caterer list for the Grove Banquet Hall, and that would be the Elephant Walk Restaurant at 170 West McMillan Street in Cincinnati.
Oh.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under discussion items, just we have something we do generally about 3 times a year. Over the course of the year, department heads will submit lists of obsolete equipment that has been determined as having no value, and we dispose of that. And then, as our policy indicates, a couple of times a year, we just present that list to the board for your review as to what items were discarded. A lot of times they're just switches, old printers, monitors, things that have no value. So I know the board has a copy of that surplus property list. So unless there's any other questions on that issue, that's all I have. Personnel update in the fire department, and we do hope to have a couple of different items. Sorry about that. A couple of items in the fire department. We have promoted Jonathan Busing to a full-time paramedic firefighter. We've also hired Andy Jenkins as a part-time paramedic firefighter, and his effective date is July the 21st. I've also hired Shane Stadigal, part-time paramedic firefighter. His starting date, July 29th, 2015. Did accept the resignation of Paul Bromwell as a part-time paramedic firefighter. Paul's effective date of resignation was July the 30th, and accepted the resignation in our police department of Sergeant Scott Hughes. Scott had a great opportunity to go with the city of Riverside, I believe it was,
Correct.
as the assistant police chief. So we certainly wish Scott best in his new position and thank him for his service to the township. Also, in the Senior Community Center, we have several new hires. Joy Martin is a bartender. Her effective date of hire, July the 14th. Charles Fusion is a building monitor, also effective July the 14th. And Sonia Fall is also as a building monitor, and her effective date is July the 23rd, 2015. I know the board has copies of the departmental activity reports. I'm going to ask Kim to maybe go through the community events and programs. Do that right now.
Thank you. Summer is finally over, and so are the concerts, so we can settle down a little bit. We've got a dinner theater scheduled for August the 21st, which is going to be a gentleman from America's Got Talent under the name of a Night of the Illusion. On September the 11th, we are working with the communities of Wyoming and Sycamore Township, and we're doing a senior adult picnic. And on September the 12th, the police department is actually hosting a resident shredding event where people can have their documents destructed safely back in the parking lot near the Grove, and that's going to go from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And the only other item that I have is just a quick note on our resolutions. We have two resolutions that we had some discussion, and in fact, on one of them, on Resolution 50, 2015, this was the resolution modifying the schedule, the parking schedule in the township. As you remember, last month, we had some discussion about a parking restriction on Meadow Trail Court. We did have a individual meeting with the neighbors in that particular community and have a solution to that was amenable to all the parties, including the police department, the service department. I think it meets all of the safety concerns that we had and also some of the concerns that the resident had. So we've modified this resolution just slightly from where it was, but that's why you'll see it as 50, because it was actually something we tabled last meeting. And then if you recall, we had the first reading on Resolution 51, 2015, and that was the creating a program for management of trees within right-of-ways throughout the township. That's a home rule resolution, so we did the first reading. It's scheduled to have the second reading tonight, and then assuming passage by the board, it would take effect, I think, in 30 days. And then you see the resolution numbers bumped to 54, 55, and 56, and 57. So those aren't typos. It's just those two were carryovers from last month. And I might add 57, 2015 is the resolution that would accept the bid for waste and recycling contract with Rumpke. The board had one initial public hearing to even talk about whether we wanted to even get into the bidding process back in March. After that public hearing, obviously, we made the decision to move forward, and then there were two public hearings, as the board's well aware, in June and July on the particular bid. So tonight would be the night to take action if the board chooses to do so. So just, I don't know if you want to talk about anything further on that issue. I know there were been a couple of questions that have come up, from some of the public, and I know Chris was at a meeting today to get some clarification.
That was going to be to ask you, Chris. I knew there was a meeting today with kind of some housekeeping issues and things like that. How did that go?
Good. Myself and representatives from Colerain, Ross, Hamilton County Solid Waste, actually Butler County Solid Waste, because of Ross Township's participation, and two individuals from Rumpke. We all met to discuss some of the housekeeping issues, as Mike alluded to. Some questions that came up during the public hearing that aren't, while they may be discussed in the bid documents, they were a little innocuous, and so we wanted to really drill down and get a better handle on how things would work in practicality, such as if someone chose the limited service but didn't want a 96-gallon garbage can, but they would rather have a 65-gallon because it fit better in the garage. Would they have the ability to do that, even though the bid spec said 96-gallon? So things like that we discussed. Obviously, the answer to that specific question was yes, they would be able to select a smaller garbage can. So it was some choice things like that allowed the customer to choose different level of, I don't want to say different level of service, but some modifications to what the base plan would be. Doesn't change the price. It allows them to have a different type of container. Some other housekeeping questions, like if you were going to Florida for 5 months out of the year, every year, could you discontinue your service? The answer to that is yes, under certain parameters, such as it has to be for a period of at least 2 months, and you have to give them 10 days notice, things of that nature. And then how often could you change between limited service and unlimited service? Well, you're allowed up to one change per year. And so there's some things like that we just wanted to clarify. Obviously, you don't want someone changing every month based on what they may have going on in their individual household.
Right.
So you allow them to change once a month the plan. I mean, not once a month, once per year.
But overall, Rumpke was pretty flexible.
Absolutely. They say we deal with this all the time. We do these contracts constantly throughout the state. This isn't uncommon. These kind of questions are things we deal with constantly. And they had a lot of good insight on how to handle these things. We're actually having a follow-up meeting with them later in September, and we're gonna go over, okay, what are the mailers going to look like? What are the things that we're going to do to prepare our residents for the choices they're going to have to make, and for what's going to be coming in the spring of 2016. So we'll be doing several mailers and public information pieces prior to really rolling this out in the spring of next year. So we'll be going over those in September and hopefully getting those out to residents throughout this fall and early part of next year to get them prepared for the contract implementation in the first quarter of 16.
So the people will be sent something out probably after the first of the year, asking them to choose what,
Yes.
because it starts April 1st.
Yeah, they'll actually be probably receiving 2 or maybe even 3 different things. Just one, letting them know that this is coming. So when you get it, be prepared to make your choices. And then actually send out the notice that allows them to make the choices, whether it's a phone number they have to call or something they have to check and mail in, whatever it is. If they just want to go with the default service, they do nothing, right? But if they want to choose specific services that are not the default, then they would have to make some choices. And we're going to preempt them to let them know what they'll have to do and when they'll have to be making those choices. So I expect something toward the end of this year and then something beginning of next year.
We just need to make sure that everyone understands so that these issues don't come up again, that they can choose a smaller can if that's, all that stuff has to be outlined so that because otherwise you're going to get all kinds of phone calls. I'd rather have a
And
smaller can.
that's exactly what we're trying to avoid with these mailers and why we're looking at least doing 2, maybe even 3.
And also, we'll make sure we have that information, of course, on our website. Just
Absolutely.
to keep everyone, aware of what's happening and provide the transparency that we always do well.
Right, and Rumpke's Public Relations Department, they're going to be drafting these mailers with our review prior to going out. So we'll be working with them hand in glove to really make sure that they meet our expectations of what we want to communicate to our residents. And every community will be receiving the same mailer. So it isn't like Colerain is going to be getting something differently than us. Additionally, we're going to be creating a fact sheet so that Colerain, Ross, and Springfield are all reading from the same sheet of music. So they don't call Colerain and get one answer, call Springfield Township and get a different understanding, and Ross something else. So we're making sure that these meetings are important just so that we're all, not that we think the contract says something differently, but just so that we're all saying the same thing and understand it in the same way. So hopefully, it'll go smoothly, but as Rumpke indicated, that they always have some issues and they'll have to resolve. It's always a work in progress. So.
When you start any new program, there's always going to perhaps be a hiccup, but at least, we've done a great job in educating our community and also answering their questions when they came to the hearings. And I'm so glad those questions that you addressed were some of the key questions that the residents had asked as well. So there's some solution for them as well.
Bottom line, I think residents should just hopefully expect between a $70 to $100 a year savings on their garbage bill.
That's the best part.
It's really, this is great, and I want to thank you, Chris, and Mike, and everybody else in the staff. I know Laura worked on the contract, and this is just another way that we're able to bring added value to the citizens of the community. This was something we didn't have to do, but it's something that these guys rolled up their sleeves and got into, and it is a way to save everybody. And at the same time, we're going to provide much better service than we've had here in the past. Instead of having to pay a premium every month for recycling, it's going to be built right in. So it's good for the environment, good for the citizens' pocketbooks, and everything.
I think the savings for the pocketbook is the most important thing.
Yeah.
I really do. Pocketbook or the purse.
Chris, there was some discussion about potentially starting the program early if everybody was amenable. Was that discussed today?
Briefly, I have to admit that we did bring it up and got sidetracked on some other conversations, so I'll have to circle back with them regarding that. I think if any reason it doesn't, it's primarily going to be
Notice requirements, but if it can be.
It can be. I mean, obviously, we would have no objection to it. Rumpke may want to delay it. Obviously, but I think their anticipation is while they're going to be, providing a cheaper rate to already existing customers, their hope is that they pick up additional customers through this process as well, which is why they were so competitive in their bidding. So I would think that they would have a vested interest in maybe trying to get it started earlier as well. But we'll see, depending on how, the drafting of the contract, obviously, that we have to sign based on the resolutions approved tonight, as well as the mailers. We'll see how that progresses. But, yeah, I think if everyone's in favor of it and Rumpke's not objectionable, I would see no reason we wouldn't try and push it up.
Yeah, I would think that,
I would.
As the board, we'd sort of want to do that if possible.
It's a good deal, yeah.
Absolutely, Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you again.
Gwen, that's all I have.
Okay. Next, we're going to move to our resolutions. And earlier, Mike outlined, basically gave a synopsis of the resolution. So as I read through these, especially when you see the number jump, you won't do like I did once when a number jumped, like, oh, I think somebody didn't count correctly. There is a reason for that. So the first resolution is 50-2015, modifying the scheduled listing each street on which parking is prohibited or restricted within the Springfield Township as required by Section 302.2 of the Springfield Township Parking Regulation. Need a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
You guys are confusing me. Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next resolution is number 51-2015, creating a program for management of trees within the right-of-ways throughout Springfield Township.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
We're just noting that it was the second.
Second reading, right? Okay, then the next resolution is number 54-2015, proclaiming September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Springfield Township.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
The next resolution is number 55-2015, proclaiming September Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in Springfield Township.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
You know, those two health issues are very critical, not only for, it's for everyone, for children and for men as well, because sometimes our men don't take as good a care of themselves as they should. So I hope that those men in the room today will make sure that they take good care of themselves and get evaluations so we can keep you around for a long time, and children as well. The next resolution is number 56-2015, supplemental appropriations within the general fund and drug law enforcement fund.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
The next resolution is number 57-2015, accepting the bid for waste and recycling contract with Rumpke of Ohio, Inc.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Okay. Next, we move down to old business. Mr. Hanawal, do you have any old business?
I don't have any old business.
I don't either.
Okay. Any new business?
Just the one thing I thought we just brought it up here tonight, but I just want to say, Rob, on behalf of the board, thank you for the job that you and your men do and women do in the fire department. That is really it's a prestigious award.
Yes, it is.
Out of 14,000 agencies in Ohio to be one of only 51 that can provide that kind of high-quality cardiac care, and to get that award from the American Heart Association, that's really outstanding. And just as our police department, got accreditation with distinction, one of the few departments across North America that gets that, you guys are, the same top quality, high caliber people, and the service department, all of them. And, this township is made up of in the services, we're a service organization, and we provide excellent service, and it's because of our employees and our leaders and people like you guys. So just on behalf of the board and, from the citizens, we say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have anything? Okay. Next, on our agenda, we have the citizens' participation. This is an opportunity if anyone in the audience would like to speak with the trustees regarding either, any concerns that you may have or maybe something that's going on in your community. And we do ask if an individual comes to the podium that the audience abstain from any discussion or conversation so that we can hear what they're saying and give them due respect as well. So is there anyone in the audience that has anything they'd like to share with us as trustees this evening?
Anna Fields, Pleasant Run Farm Civic Association. At our last meeting, it was suggested that I ask you to reschedule the meeting you postponed with our residents in April. We know that you have busy schedules, but you said that you would reschedule in September or
Yes, and we do
October.
plan to do that.
And this is August, so that's why I was asked to give you a reminder. And if you could contact us to give us a definite date at your earliest convenience, we would much appreciate it.
Thank you. We do plan on doing that. We were looking, checking our calendars, and we've checked with your president as well.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing that there is no one at this particular point, I'd like to entertain, before we adjourn, I'd just like to thank everyone for attending the meeting this evening. It's a wonderful day outside, and you brought some of that sunshine into the room this evening, and so when you leave, you'll still be able to soak in some of that sunshine. So thank you so much for attending our meeting this evening. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you very much.